channel. If you're new here, my name is Maddie and I am a registered nurse. I work in the PACU and I have former ICU experience. I love just sharing content and creating content for people who are kind of in the same boat as me, or maybe nursing students who are always looking for more information and how to optimize their lives as nurses. So getting into the video pretty quickly, you probably clicked on this video maybe because you're seeking out a non-bedside nursing position. Now, I did make another video recently on high-paying, low-stress nursing jobs, which I will link somewhere around here on the screen that you guys can check out. But I thought it would be fun to do one that is just solely non-bedside, non-traditional nursing jobs, because not all of us are looking for the money. Most of us are just looking for a break from bedside. So if that is why you are here and why you clicked on this video, then stay tuned. Really quick, I am going to list the average incomes just because I think that is an important piece about looking into these jobs. However, I just wanted to state up front that these are not necessarily the highest paying nursing jobs out there. These are just more low stress, non-traditional jobs. And one last little disclaimer, when I say not as stressful, that is just per who is in the job and what is stressful to them. For example, I'll talk about forensic nursing, and that to me would be stressful, but something like flight nursing, depending on your background, may not be as stressful as what you're currently doing. So just take that with a grain of salt. Jobs may be stressful to some people and not to others. So, and since I've already kind of given you guys a clue to the jobs, I'm going to start out with flight nursing. And I have my laptop because once again, I can't retain everything off the top of my head. Flight nursing usually requires anywhere from 2 to 5 years of experience, just depending on where you're going. And they tend to like people who have had ICU or emergency department experience. These types of nurses are definitely critical care nurses, and they tend to have a lot more autonomy. Flight nurses will work on anything from helicopters to airplanes to sometimes even ground transportation if they're not able to fly that day. What makes flight nursing interesting is, once again, it's not a typical bedside job. You tend to just transport patients from one destination to the next while caring for them in between and making sure that they stay alive, of course. You might also arrive to crash and trauma scenes too and be first responders. Flight nursing is interesting because in some cases it provides a lot of flexibility, but in other cases it might not be as flexible if you're someone who maybe has a family. So flight nursing shifts can be anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. They are usually in like blocked time, so you're doing like 3 days a week or 2 24-hour shifts in a row. There is always mandatory downtime, so you're not just going for 12 or 24 hours. You have to take time to refuel, and you have to have mandatory like down sleep time, and the pilot has to sleep too. So there are definitely breaks, but there is the potential that if you are in a base where you clock into work and then you land elsewhere after transporting a patient and your shift has ended, you may have to stay the night in whatever town or city that you're in. And usually work will cover your transportation home, or even if you had to get a hotel. But that is something, again, if you have like a young family or kids or something, and you don't want to spend a night away, it's just something to consider. Just like in my last nurse jobs videos, I am going to try my best to link other nurses like platforms and videos on their days in life, because they can probably give you a little snapshot of what the job actually looks like, which would be hard for me to include in this video. You can find that in my description box below if you want to see what each of these jobs might look like in more detail. All right, and the average salary for a flight nurse when you're first starting out is anywhere between $80,000 to $90,000. I definitely know individuals who make more than that, but that is a rough starting pay for just the United States in general. All right, the next job that I found fascinating is an insurance nurse. So an insurance nurse will basically come and do a biometric screening and take your labs. So by that, I mean they'll take your blood pressure, they'll take your labs, look at your cholesterol, look to see what your A1C is if you have diabetes. They'll do a urine sample to see if you have any issues there, chronic kidney disease, and they will also take your pulse and just your basic vitals to see if you are hypertensive, hypotensive, and so on. And what an insurance nurse does is they basically do the screenings at people's homes or on a site, and they collect their health information and take it back to an insurance company. And then that insurance company usually provides life insurance. So you would probably have to go to individuals' homes. So I had this done recently. We were applying for life insurance, and we had a nurse come to our home. It lasted about 45 minutes. She took our labs, took our vitals, collected our information, and it was gone. And you usually see like 2 to 3 people a day based on who's in your area and network and that sort of thing. So I just thought that was fascinating. The person that I talked to was doing it as like their retirement job. So I can see how that could be like much more relaxing and not so stressful. Average salary for an insurance nurse is between $60,000 and $65,000. Once again, I kind of already alluded to this job, but this is one that I find super fascinating. I don't know if I could ever do it, but it's so fascinating, and that is forensics nursing. So again, while this job might be fascinating, it can also be very difficult. Again, it's not something that I could foresee myself doing. However, according to Google, the role of the forensics nurse is basically caring for patients who might have experienced trauma, abuse, sexual abuse, assault, and those sort of things during a like legal proceeding, following a crime scene incident, that sort of thing. So they first of all care for the person, but then they collect information from what has happened during the trauma, and that can then be used in legal proceedings, and they can even assist in autopsies as well. So if this is something that interests you, it's looking like the average salary is somewhere between $65,000 and $75,000 a year. All right, and then this is yet another fascinating job that I've even considered, and pretty much any nurse can do as kind of like a side business, and that is becoming a nurse writer. So being a nurse writer can be anything from publishing research articles to even publishing in like magazines and that sort of thing, and writing with a nurse's perspective. Nurse writers can contribute to educational materials, they can contribute to historical books, and they might even be like consultants on sets for movies and TV shows, and help writing scripts based off of their background. A lot of these people tend to use it to make blogs. They might write about how to study better in nursing school. They might write a book on how to be healthy as a nurse, and they might even write blogs on like how to care better for your patients and things like that. So there's honestly just a lot that you can do with it. And again, I'm going to try to link people down below who have maybe done this or have some more experience in how to get into this role. And it's not a bad side business too if it's something that you want to do on top of a different job. Average salary for a nurse writer is anywhere from $18,000 a year to $100,000 a year. Once again, it depends on if you're freelancing, if you're working for a group, if you're having your own personal blog. It just depends on where you are writing. All right, and another job that has become more recently popular is becoming a school nurse. So most of you guys already know what a school nurse does. They just give you a bag of ice and they put a Band-Aid on and they tell you to go back to class. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. One of my good friends is a school nurse, and she loves her job, and I can see why. It's definitely a little bit more low-key. If you like the pediatric population, it's a perfect place to be. You tend to have like a year or two of experience elsewhere before becoming a school nurse, just so you can have some autonomy. I want to share a really quick, cool story that my pediatric nursing professor told me in school, which is that she had a friend who was a school nurse, and she had a very young child come to her one day who was complaining of dizziness, feeling faint, and the child kept like squatting down because they couldn't catch their breath, and the nurse caught on to that and took their blood pressure in their arms and in their legs, and found discrepancies, and were able to find out that the child had a rare heart condition that ended up needing surgery, but probably saved the child's life. So again, our school nurses are super important. They're super helpful. They don't just give you a bag of ice and send you on your way. And there's plenty of them who are like phenomenal people and have great backgrounds and really care for the kids that are in school. and you never know, one of them might save your child's life one day. So I just thought that that was a fascinating story. The types of things that they do, they might be administering shots, they may be taking kids' measurements at the start and end of the year. They may be screening for nutrition and malnutrition. And then they will obviously evaluate a child if they're not feeling good on a particular day. But this is a job that, once again, just kind of depends on like what district you're in, what state you're in, if you're in a private versus a public school. So school nurses can make usually anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000 a year. All right, and another job that isn't as popular but is so needed and so necessary, and that is a lactation consultant nurse. So these nurses a lot of times tend to have a background in obstetrics and postpartum, labor, delivering, that sort of thing. And they basically just help new moms learn how to get their babies to latch, how to feed and breastfeed properly. It can be pretty in-depth. I've definitely seen and shadowed lactation consultant nurses when I was in school, and their knowledge is great. I've definitely seen how much they can help new moms and just be encouraging if they're having difficulties breastfeeding. So this isn't either another great side gig, or it can be a full-time job. Lactation consultant nurses make usually around $80,000 a year. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I know I definitely had a lot of positive responses to my last nurse job videos. So if you want more like this, you want to know some more non-traditional nursing positions, let me know, comment down below, and I will try to make another video. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope to see you here again, and again, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more, and be notified when I post new videos. Love you guys so much. Tutundana. See you later.